In this lesson, we're going to go over what elapsed time is. In order to better understand what elapsed time is, let's take a look at the definition. The definition of elapsed time is the amount of time that passes from the beginning of an event to the end. The key words here is the beginning and the end. That means it has a start time and an end time. In order to get a better understanding of elapsed time, we're going to make ourselves a key. This key is going to help us later on in trying to understand how much time has passed since the beginning to the end. So in order for this, our key is going to consist of mountains, these mountains are going to equal representing 1 hour. Then we're going to have hills. These hills can represent 10 or 5 minutes, depending on what you decide to label them. We'll go into that more in our example. Then we have rocks. Rocks are going to represent 1 minute. Now this key is what's going to help us understand how much time has passed from the beginning of an event to the end. In order to understand how much time has passed, the first step is to read the clock. All right, so we're going to look at an example, and the first thing we're going to do is read the clock. So let's look at our example. This is the start, so I'm going to label it as the start time. And this is the end time. So I'm going to start by reading the start time. If you remember from our video, the little hand represents the hour hand. The hour hand is between the 8 and 9. Since it hasn't reached the 9 yet, it is still 8. So we know that our hours is 8. Now we count the minutes. When we count the minutes, this is 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So we know that the time is 8:40. So our start time equals 8:40. So now let's look at the end time. Again, we're going to start by looking at the hours. The hour hand is between 10 and 11, which means it has not reached 11 o'clock yet, so it is still 10. All right, now we count the minutes. 12 starts at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Then it goes 1 minute more, so it is 31. So our time is 10:31. We have finished the first step. We found the start time and the end time. Okay, so now we have finished step 1. Our start time was 8:40 and our end time was 10:31. Our step 2 is to create a number line. Or a timeline. So we start by drawing a regular number line. We know that our start time was 8:40 and our end time was 10:31. So we're going to count by hours. So from 8:40, we're going to draw one mountain, which equals 1 hour. And that gives me to 9:40. Now, since I'm trying to get to 10:31, I cannot add another hour because then that would equal 10:40, and it is past the time I'm trying to reach. So then I move to hills. And I'm going to label them. So I have a 10-minute hill. So 9:40 plus the 10 minutes equals 9:50. And then I add another hill. Label it 10 minutes. Now it is 10 o'clock. Again, I'm trying to get to 10:31. So if I'm at 10, I know I can add 3 hills of 10 minutes. It'll be 10, 10. 10 minutes is 10, 20. Then 10 more minutes is 10:30. But that's not where I was going to end. I was going to end at 10:31. So I add 1 minute. And now it is 10:31. That was my end time. So step 2 was to create a timeline or a number line representing the start and end time. Now we still don't know how much time has elapsed, so I'm going to count and add up all the time I used. So I used 1 hour. So I write 1 hour. Then I count the minutes. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51. So how much time has elapsed? 1 hour and 51 minutes. Let's take a look at another example. If you recall, step 1 was to read the clocks. So this is our start time. And this is our end time. If we look at the hour hand, which is a smaller hand, it is between 12 and 1. Because it has not reached 1 yet, it is still 12 as our hours. Then we count the minutes. They start at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Then we count how many minutes. 51, 52. So the time is 12:52. Now let's take a look at the end time. We'll look at the hours first. It's between 6 and 7, but it has not reached 7 yet, so the hour is still 6. Now let's count the minutes. 12 starts 0, 5, 10, 15. Because it is exactly on the 3, it stays at 15. So the end time is going to equal 6:15. Now we're going to go to step 2, which was to create a number line or a timeline. We're going to use the same key. All the mountains are 1 hour. The hills can be 10 or 5, depending on how you label it. And the rocks equal 1 minute. So our start time was 12:52. Usually, you can start with the hours because they are bigger, but I like to get to a pretty number. So from 12:52, we can get to 12:55. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That will get me to 12:55. Because this is 12:52, 12:53, 12:54, and 12:55. Now 55 is a nice pretty number that I can add a hill. If I label this one a 5-minute hill, it allows me to get to 1 o'clock. Now it will be easier to get to 6:15. So 1 o'clock plus 1 hour is 2 o'clock plus 1 hour is 3 o'clock plus 1 hour, 4 o'clock plus 1 hour, 5 o'clock. Last hour, 6 o'clock. Now that I'm done with the hours, I can go to the hills. 6 o'clock plus a 10-minute hill gets me to 6:10. Then I can do a 5-minute hill, and it gets me to 6:15. Now step 3 is to add up all the minutes. All right, so I always start with the hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know 5 hours has passed since the beginning. Then I add up the minutes. 10 plus 5 is 15, plus 5 is 20, 21, 22, 23. 5 hours and 23 minutes has elapsed from the start to the end. If you notice, I checked off the minutes to make sure that I counted each one of these. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the next video.